Welcome everybody to Learning the Cost of Playfulness. Why do I care about playfulness? Well, in any university setting, the siren call, of course, is always to reduce our knowledge to a beautiful set of abstract symbols that we fully understand, and we are now going to let this knowledge soak into the student merely by standing up here and pontificating, right? So instead what we want to happen is for students to have some intuitive grasp of the basic ideas, and then we can backfill that intuitive grasp with a more methodical and perhaps abstract understanding. But it's very, very important that students come to the materials and are able to experiment. And when they do so, those experiments should be rewarded with, presumably with gaining knowledge and with the excitement of, oh yeah, actually this stuff interests me. And guess what? I might even spend time beyond the classroom learning about this stuff. So that's been a kind of a driver behind some of the things that I've helped create in the past couple of years. So this is kind of a quick whiz through these, and maybe they'll inspire you as well. Right, and what do we got? Okay, so with, say, freshmen in the CS125 class, it's very easy for them to see programming code, which you can barely see up here or down here, and look at it as just like it's just characters on a page, right? It doesn't do anything, it doesn't mean anything. And maybe if I just kind of stare at it long enough, I will have understanding, right? Now, what we want to show is that these lines of code have an act. They do things. And so we built this playful environment where you can change bits of code without having to worry too much about syntax, right? You can click on these things and they magically appear in the right spot. You can change lines of code, you can run it again, and so the feedback loop, the experience loop, is very, very fast. You're not trying to think, oh, I need a semicolon here. No, it's oh look, this stuff runs, and it goes through slowly, and you're forcing students to think about the state changes of the code that they write, and it's done in terms of little games. On the top right as well, this meant we could make a little textbook which was live, that I got some students to write a few sentences, but what was more interesting was the fact that you could have a little example, hit play, and it would run, it would print something out. But then as a student, of course, you can change a couple of characters and say, oh look, it prints something else out. Yeah, so we're encouraging playfulness at the moment that they're trying to learn definitions, right? So reduce that barrier of entry. So instead of like having a 30-second or a 2-minute time to learn things, trying to reduce it by an order of magnitude. Okay, so that was kind of Java in the browser, and we used this a little bit in the MOOC, and we put it online so anybody can use it, and we used Google Analytics so we could see that, yes, students here were using it, and they were using it in their dorms, and they were playing with it for minutes at a time, if not hours at a time, and then, of course, the rest of the world started using it as well. So it's fantastic to use Google Analytics. It's very easy to do to measure the usefulness of these tools. Okay, more recently, we have this Linux in the browser. So your browser, your machines are now powerful enough to actually have a virtual machine inside them. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, welcome everybody to your CS 241. I hope you've done the homework, yes? Okay, good, right. So as you remember from last lecture, we talked about every process has an ID number, and we can call get PID here. And so here's a little program. And so I can use this little tool inside lecture, right? And I can very quickly change it, and we can have a collaborative performance, right? So is there something you'd like to change to this code?
Yeah, stop it.
Stop it. Okay. Okay. Stop it. Right. And this being a systems programming class, you should remember, of course, right, that if we call fork for every process that calls fork, it doubles it. Right. There we go. So if we were to try this on an engineering workstation, or they'd logged into one of these machines that we all use and love, right, it would bring down the whole machine. Yes, because now it's like Agent Smith from the Matrix that is just doubling all the time. So every second, each process, okay, it's crashed, right? The whole machine has crashed, and now Linux is trying to recover itself. It's going to sacrifice children now. Right. Here's the beautiful thing. We've just crashed the machine by adding 4 letters, right? Fork, yes? And And what's happened? Well, I've done something bad to my browser. How can I fix it? Reload it, yes? Now, the other thing, of course, you can do with this stuff is that it doesn't have to be just this pure environment here. We can put in videos. So if this is connected to the web, you can see another picture of me now talking, right? And so we can embed this playfulness within a greater content. And in fact, the other thing that's going to come with this, let's go back to here. okay, so we've talked about that, is last semester the course didn't have a good textbook. So after every lecture, I just wrote up some notes inside a public wiki and got the students to help. I said, this is a wiki. We're going to everyone make the textbook, right? Of course, I actually write the textbook, right? But the students helped fix the typos, and they had a couple of examples, and there's this wonderful kind of collaborative performance again in terms of learning. And now we've got a resource that actually works well with the course, and we can turn it into a printed Dead Tree book if we wish as well. So again, I encourage you to think beyond the realms of kind of classical publishing. Right. And to use another kind of matrix analogy, we weren't happy with the workstations, the systems that we're getting from EWS. It's kind of a little bit outdated. So why not give every machine to a student? Well, we can't give every student an actual physical machine, but we can give them a virtual machine to log into, and we can give them admin access so they can break it, right? And in this case, do stuff that otherwise they couldn't do within the constrained environment of a classic workstations. So, so my point here is that we can bring the playfulness to the students if we're prepared to kind of step outside the box, and we can do with the latest technologies. Okay, and oh yes, and now tablets exist. They're $50. You can get I found one which has got reasonable reviews, and so every student can have a tablet which they can now break and they can now do things to, and again they can play and actually make things, and they can walk around and walk into their interviews and say, hey, I did this, right? So we're bringing the education to where the students live, which is everywhere but the classroom. Yes, they're at the bus stops, they're with their friends, they're talking about this, they're using the ideas that we've talked about in lecture within the rest of their lives, and I think that's very exciting. So that's my talk. It's about lowering the cost of playfulness, and I'll stop there because I wanted you to remember the title. Thank you very much.